Hello and welcome to U.S. Newslicks. I'm Emma, bringing you the latest news from across the country. Today's biggest and most tragic story is a horrific aviation disaster that has shaken the entire nation. A devastating mid-air collision occurred near Washington, D.C. between an American Airlines flight and a U.S. military Black Hawk helicopter, resulting in the tragic loss of all 67 passengers and crew members aboard both aircraft. As investigations progress, experts and politicians are raising questions about the possible causes of this incident and the regulations governing air safety. On January 29, 2025, a devastating mid-air collision between an American Airlines flight and a U.S. military Black Hawk helicopter occurred near Washington, D.C., resulting in the tragic loss of all 67 passengers and crew members aboard both aircraft. The collision took place in the early evening, sending debris into the Potomac River and causing widespread panic in the nation's capital. Emergency responders, including the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, and military officials rushed to the scene to assess the damage and begin rescue and recovery operations. Witnesses described a fiery explosion in the sky, followed by wreckage falling into the water and surrounding areas, causing chaos near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. Authorities immediately closed airspace over the region while launching an in-depth investigation into what led to the catastrophic accident. The NTSB has since recovered the black box flight recorders from both aircraft and is currently analyzing the data to determine the exact sequence of events leading up to the crash. Preliminary reports suggest that air traffic controllers may have lost track of the military helicopter's altitude, leading to a fatal miscommunication with the commercial airliner's flight path. Other factors being examined include weather conditions, pilot error, and mechanical failure. While the investigation remains ongoing, experts are questioning how such a major airspace mishap could occur in one of the most heavily regulated and monitored regions in the country. Aviation analysts note that the airspace around Washington, D.C. is among the most restricted in the world, making the mid-air collision particularly alarming. Politically, the crash has ignited fierce debate over aviation safety regulations and government policies. President Donald Trump addressed the nation, calling it a dark and painful night for America, while also demanding transparency regarding the military helicopter's flight plan. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has been criticized by Trump, who suggested that diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, policies in the aviation sector may have contributed to systemic failures in air safety. Buttigieg responded by defending his tenure, citing improvements in aviation safety statistics and a reduction in near-miss incidents during his time in office. The White House has dismissed claims that key aviation personnel were fired or suspended due to policy changes, emphasizing that safety remains a top priority under the current administration. Meanwhile, the public and media have reacted with shock and outrage, with many questioning whether this tragedy could have been prevented. A White House reporter confronted President Trump on whether it was premature to blame DEI policies before the investigation concluded, to which the administration reiterated its commitment to real-time communication and transparency in addressing the crisis. Families of the victims are anxiously awaiting official confirmation of the identities of their loved ones, as officials prepare to release the full list of victims. Among those reportedly on board were members of the U.S. Figure Skating Association, adding to the emotional weight of the disaster. Airport travelers at Reagan National Airport expressed deep concerns about flight safety, while some airline employees claimed they were not given timely information about the incident, leading to confusion and frustration at the terminal. This accident marks one of the deadliest aviation disasters in U.S. history since 9/11, raising urgent questions about the need for stricter aviation regulations, improved air traffic control systems, and better coordination between military and civilian aircraft. The Biden administration has vowed to conduct a full-scale review of aviation safety procedures, while lawmakers from both parties are calling for congressional hearings on air traffic control oversight. As the investigation unfolds, more details will emerge, shedding light on the causes of this devastating crash and the potential failures that allowed such a tragedy to occur in one of the most secure airspaces in the world.